our bodies can heal anything. It really can. It's just that we don't give it the right things. One of the other aspects that's, I wouldn't say it's cheap, unfortunately, but that you don't have to buy a machine or anything is whole foods. If we could just get more and more whole foods, and then how we alluded to RFK, he wants to, cut out some things like, if you look at some of and trust me, when I was younger, I would eat all these breakfast cereals, but if you really, now that I'm a doctor and I can evaluate what's in them, I was like, man, they sure tasted good, but they were not good for me.
No, I look at I heard about all of it and I started researching specifically because of RFK. And I was like, holy crap, we grew up eating that.
Yeah.
All of us. Most Americans. And my best advice, if somebody really can't get their diet in check, is save up some cash and just move to Japan for a few months.
You can do that.
Move to Okinawa.
Which would still be quite expensive. Italy is one of those countries that
Turkey.
They've really changed up how whatever their FDA or their whatever governing body kind of controls that the food that they allow you to have is they're very specific.
Have you have you been to Greece or Turkey?
I have not been to either.
Those are the food there. You don't even need to worry about regulation because they don't eat anything that's not from the earth.
Yeah.
And they don't have it's literally, it's all farmers. They just send it. No, barely any pesticides. I don't even think they use pesticides.
No, they're not allowed to use it.
Yeah.
About 4 years ago, I was in Sicily, and the food over there is all just homegrown. There's no you can't find a you can't find a Walmart or a Home Depot or they don't have things like that over there. But the food is so amazing, it is incredible. And then obviously you talk about Japan, Okinawa as an example. But Sicily, these are these blue zones. And these are all the
highest life expectancy in the world is, I think, still Okinawa.
Yeah. You have patients, I say patients, you have people in their 90s and even over 100 still, working out, socializing, doing all this stuff. So that's what's awesome about, kind of this holistic way of doing medicine. And more I'm learning, of the 100% of what I've learned in medical school, I've probably only utilized maybe 15 or 20%, but because everything's so new now and there's more, the approaches are going toward
the new is the old.
Yeah, I know, the holistic and more naturopathic type of things, so, and this is like nutrition. Everybody always rags on us in medical school. We don't talk about nutrition. That's like one day of the entire 4 years. We maybe talk about nutrition, but it is so important. Just totally important. And I think if we had just a little bit better food that kids when they're young that they would eat or we could purchase or whatever, you'd be surprised how much healthier.
One of the biggest things that I would like to work on, it's really annoying, is the inner cities. It's not that the kids don't have access to cheap food. It's that the fact that expensive food is healthy and cheap food is unhealthy.
Which is, it's
an
crazy.
Injustice.
Yeah, it really
right?
is. And then, depending on the programs in which that the government subsidizes,
also, which they're giving the kids is a bunch of manufactured contracts.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, and this is the one thing why I keep bringing up RFK, whether you like him or not, if he can make even subtle changes, that will be a big win.
Didn't they just ban red dye number 40 or something
like that? Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's great, and it's just calling to terms these different food producers or manufacturers, that, you can't be just giving the public these types of processed foods, and you want to eat as many, as much whole foods as you possibly can, but, within the budget that you have. And that's just, that's kind of a sad connotation in the whole, because everybody should be allowed to have that, shouldn't be because whether you're wealthy or not wealthy.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
So
on the other hand, though, I've also seen people who have EBT and they're allowed to buy lobster with it. So, I'd totally be doing that if I had it.
Well, at least I'd go a little bit with lobster rather than, because if for EBT, they were also having soda, chips, and just a lot of, used to back when I was growing up, when somebody would be on food stamps, and we didn't have, they call it EBT now, it's just good old fashioned food stamps back there. It would be milk, eggs, bread, flour, rice, beans, very basic stuff.
Which was approved.
But it was approved, and that food was better than the kind
Most
of
of
foods
the
that
food,
they have
Now
which is
you
kinda
can
crazy.
get EBT, but then you're buying like these little Debbie snacks or fruit roll-ups.
And I'm like,
I've seen that.
don't get me wrong, they're delicious, but they're not good for you.
Yeah, so my father owned a gas station, and I worked there for like a year, and it was in a lower income area. They were EBT, and I mean, those little Debbie snacks live off of EBT money. That company probably would be out of business if it wasn't for EBT.
And I get that in certain situations before there were still grocery stores that had relatively good food in that area.
It still exists I mean, honestly, so you still have the choice, but the problem is people, I think, are probably trying to live off of a certain budget with EBT. And so if you wanted to get like salmon, you'd have to choose like, do I want like 20 pounds of groceries, or do I want like 2 pounds of healthy?
Exactly.
Like that's annoying. Whole Foods allows EBT, I think. All of them do. But the problem is like, how much can you get for $100?
There has to be, and that's where, somebody like RFK, if he can subsidize, if the government can subsidize
being healthy,
those type of things of just being healthy. Everything we do, and I'm referring to physicians that are doing more naturopathic, doing more holistic type of treatments. And then, as I alluded to before,